I've covered a few John and Jane Doe cases on this channel in the past. As sad as they are, I really enjoy learning about them, and you guys seem to as well. Today's case involves a Jane Doe who has gone unidentified for almost 40 years, and I was actually drawn to this case by her unusual nickname. Let's talk about the woman only known as the cheerleader in the trunk. On August 24th, 1982, mushroom hunters in Gambrilla State Park in Frederick, Maryland, stumbled on a body. The body was off a gravel road in a wooded area and stored in what was known as a steamer trunk. I was a little confused when I first heard this term, but apparently a steamer trunk is just one of those trunks you see in movies that characters will pack their things in for boarding school or some other long trip. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen them in Harry Potter. If you do a Google search for steamer trunks, you'll actually get a lot of listings for vintage or antique steamer trunks for sale. The trunk this body was found in has also been described as a footlocker. The trunk had leaves and sticks on top of it, but didn't seem to be intentionally hidden. The body inside was either mostly or fully skeletonized. The body inside was found to be of a white female between the ages of 17 and 27, though she may have been as old as 45. I don't believe a cause of death has ever been publicly stated, and even her time of death is murky. It's been estimated as anywhere from a few months before her body was found to as much as 10 years earlier. The woman had a lot of dental procedures that were consistent with the methods and procedures often performed by dental students. This Jane Doe got her nickname from the wear on her bones. There was heavy wear on her pelvis that caused early investigators to believe she may have been a dancer or gymnast, or of course a cheerleader. She'd also had back and feet injuries in the past, and she also had something called spondylolysis. Spondylolysis is a defect in the connection between vertebrae. It can lead to small stress fractures that weaken the bones or even cause them to slip out of place. It's common in children and teenagers who participate in sports. It might sound like a serious condition, and maybe it is, but a lot of people who have it don't even realize they have it. Low back pain is often one of the only symptoms, and that can be attributed to a lot of different things. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough DNA in the cheerleader's body to create a profile. A sketch was done early on in the case, and ultimately investigators pursued hundreds of leads, but none of them led anywhere. At some point, the case was featured on both The New Detectives and Final Justice. I tried to find what episode of The New Detectives it was featured on, but couldn't. Someone on a web sleuth thread said it was actually only mentioned briefly. Investigators in another missing persons case thought that person might be this Doe, but they were ultimately ruled out. In 2012, a new sketch was released by the Frederick Police Department in the hopes that someone might be able to identify her. I believe the case had also been closed for a while at this point and was reopened that year. Unfortunately, this is the latest update I could find on the case. It's been 8 years since that sketch was released and 38 years since the cheerleader in the trunk was found, and she remains unidentified. There aren't really any theories in this case, but there is quite a bit of speculation. Despite her nickname, a lot of people don't think she was necessarily a cheerleader. That is certainly possible, of course, but other dance-related careers like Broadway dancer, figure skater, or exotic dancer have also been suggested. Someone on a Reddit thread about the case said if this Jane Doe participated in competitive sports, that might indicate coming from a wealthy family since competitive sports are expensive. Other jobs like cook, camerawoman, farmer, or something that involves heavy physical labor have also been suggested. But how did the cheerleader die? What were the circumstances surrounding her death? Her death, of course, has been presumed as homicide, probably due to the circumstances in which her body was found. Some people I've come across thought she might have been hitchhiking and was killed by a trucker. I did talk about this particular scenario a little bit in my Hitchhiker Murders of Santa Rosa video, but I don't think that's the case here. Another web sleuth speculator thinks the woman might have been killed by someone she knew, because a trucker wouldn't bother to put her body in a trunk that was probably big and hard to handle. But most of the speculation in this case surrounds other missing women who might be the cheerleader. Two names I saw brought up a lot were Virginia Welch and Ann Riggin. Virginia Alice Welch was 22 when she disappeared from her new home in Roanoke, Virginia, just after moving in with a new roommate. Her mother hadn't seen her since the move, and a few weeks later went to ask her roommate where she was. The roommate said she had left, but didn't remember when and had no idea where she was now. I have seen a few people call her Virginia Ann Welch, but all the official sources list her name as Alice, so I assume Ann was an error. As far as I know, she has never been ruled out as the cheerleader. Ann Lillian Riggin was 25 when she went missing from her home in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on May 28, 1982. Unfortunately, there aren't many other details surrounding her disappearance. As far as I know, there's never been any sort of investigation as to whether she is the cheerleader. The cheerleader in the trunk is a white female, roughly between the ages of 17 and 27. She was between 5'2" and 5'6" inches tall, and 100 to 130 pounds. She had wavy, medium-length dark brown or reddish-brown hair. No clothing or jewelry was found at the scene, but a dark-colored towel was found nearby. Her estimated date of death is between a few months to 10 years before the discovery of her body in August 1982. If you have any information about the identity of the cheerleader in the trunk, you can contact the Frederick Police Department at 301-600-2100. Virginia Welch was 22 years old when she disappeared from Roanoke, Virginia on July 12, 1982. She's a white female, 5'7" inches tall, and 135 pounds. She has brown, curly hair and blue eyes. She has multiple tattoos, a red rose on her right forearm, a hummingbird on her left breast, eagle wings on her right shoulder, a cobra snake on her hip/upper left leg, and a Confederate flag with the words, "Live to ride, ride to live," though I'm not sure where that one is on her body. She might go by the nickname Jenny. If she were alive today, she would be 60 years old. If you have any information on the disappearance of Virginia Welch, you can contact the Roanoke Police Department at 540-853-2211. Ann Riggin was 25 when she went missing from her home in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on May 28, 1982. She's a white female, 5'3" inches tall, and 115 pounds. She has light brown hair and blue eyes. She has a scar above her left eye and has previously fractured her collarbone. She goes by the nickname Annie. If she were alive today, she would be 63 years old. If you have any information on the disappearance of Ann Riggin, you can contact the Pennsylvania State Police at 717-671-7542. I'll also leave some information below about another Jane Doe found in the same county in 1991. I came across her a lot in my research, so I thought it was just worth mentioning. I'll also leave some information below about a John Doe found in the same area in 2016. Because if I can bring even a little bit of attention to these cases, then why not? So that's all I have for you today on the cheerleader in the trunk. Obviously, there's not a lot of information publicly available, but there is plenty of speculation. As always, my sources are linked in the blog entry below, and I encourage you to check those out if you find this case interesting. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.